James Caan is one of the UK's most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs. He's amassed an £85 million fortune through creating global recruitment businesses and from his private equity empire in London's Mayfair. With an impeccable track record of creating and managing companies, he's now taking this first-hand knowledge on the road to mentor 6 of the UK's most vibrant small and medium-sized enterprises. He's on a mission to navigate the entrepreneurs through the challenges they face, to seize market opportunities and to boost their bottom line. With James's nearly 30 years of business expertise, will the young companies make the change or stick to their ways? The Business Class begins here.
As we all know, small businesses are the backbone of the British economy. And when they do well, the whole country does well. There are literally 4.9 million SMEs in the UK who employ a staggering 14.4 million people with a combined turnover of £1.6 trillion. Joining me now are Dale Murray, angel investor and non-executive director of the Department of Business Innovation and Skills, as well as UKTI. Also here is entrepreneur Charlie Mullins, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, Lord Digby Jones, business ambassador at UK Trade Investment, and lastly, Sam Smith, CEO and founder of FinnCap. Welcome to the Business Class.
All right, James, let's get the discussion started. You recently went on a road trip to attend an event that introduces entrepreneurs and potential investors. Let's take a look.
It's probably the biggest single challenge facing small businesses and the cause of fierce debate at government level: access to the right type of capital.
Like all entrepreneurs, we experience firsthand how difficult it is to raise finance, particularly in today's climate with the economic downturn. So we did like all good entrepreneurs do, you turn to your family members first.
Most entrepreneurs rely on family, friends and traditional bank loans for capital. And of course there are alternatives in the form of business angels, private equity investors and venture capitalists.
I'm here tonight at an event which epitomises the challenges faced by the entrepreneurial community, the opportunity to raise that vital capital that they need to get their business on the ground.
The more connections you can make, the more and the more relationships you can build, the kind of advice you can get, it's completely invaluable.
Let me start with you, Dale. You're an investor as well as an advisor to the government. How do you think SMEs are facing right now in relation to raising capital?
If you do have a business and you've got a good, clear plan, and you've got a business model which is understandable and which people can buy into, then there is money for that. I think a couple of things though. You have to have a great management team. So it's not just about the plan and about the business model per se. You've got to have really good people with very, very strong skills. You also have to be looking for the right type of finance. So a lot of startups might think that they can go and get a loan from their bank, but they don't have a track record, or they don't have collateral, or they don't have any demonstrable way of repaying that loan. They probably shouldn't be going to a bank at that point. But that same kind of company is perfect for equity investment.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Lord Jones, you used to head up the CBI and you're a voice that speaks on behalf of the SME community. What are organisations like that doing for SMEs in relation to helping them raise capital?
Whether it's the CBI or the Chambers, the Institute of Directors, the Federation of Small Businesses, they're all essentially there to champion the cause of creating wealth, whether it's a small business or the biggest in the land. What I think a small business has to understand is, why does it need the money? You see, Dale just talked extremely well about the beginning of a small business. How do you start it up? Is it equity? Is it debt? What sort? There is the other type, of course, which is the ongoing requirement for working capital, which is just the same. Many a good small business will fail in its first 12 months, not because it didn't get the startup, but because it actually ran out of working capital, because it can't stand the storms and pressures that you never planned in your business plan but will happen in any business.
Charlie, You're an entrepreneur, and you've had a kind of an unconventional journey in terms of setting up your business, because I know you have an aversion to banks. So how did you raise that critical capital?
Yeah, well, we sort of, when we started the company off, any money that was generated was immediately put back into the business. Banks are not there to take your house off you and close your business down, but that's what they do. You know, for me, I wouldn't advise anybody borrowing from a bank, certainly a start-up business. Fortunately, there is an option now. They can go somewhere else to borrow, but for me, you know, I mean, for me, banks are crooks in suits.
And let's address the question of trust. If you're a small business, and between 2008 and, shall we say, 2010, your bank manager rang you up and basically said, a week on Friday, I want my money back. I bet you're going to find quite a few businesses that go to another form of finance, invoice discounting, maybe a term loan, or equity, because they just never again want to be in the position of humiliation.
I suspect it's really quite high. I would think it's more than 50% of all the companies we see that don't want to go through the debt process again. And it's not just the companies that are saying that, it's also the shareholders, whether it's staff, whether it's outside shareholders or institutional investors. They're all nervous as well because they've seen it go wrong in the past.
So we have 200,000 members. We're a leading voice for small businesses. So my question to you is about access to finance. It's one of the major issues that our small businesses seem to be going through right now. For all those small businesses who are applying, we think around 40% are still getting rejected. So my question is, how can we make the retail banking sector more competitive?
From your perspective, Dale, I mean, broadly, are you seeing that in the market?
It means that, first of all, a lot are being funded, which is great. But for the ones that aren't getting funding, let's make sure that those people explain where they should go.
Well, you've got to analyse it first, actually, Dan, haven't you? You've got to break down your 40%. You need to do some work. You need some research work on why. And you'll have some who are not bankable.
Yep.
You'll have some who are genuinely turned down wrongly, which is where you want to major your effort, I would suggest. And you'll have some, actually, that really didn't want debt in the first place.
Let's remind ourselves of one of the companies that took part in Series 1 of the business class, Quickscreen.
The concept for the Quickscreen, it started off as my final year project at the Royal College of Art. I was studying innovation, design, engineering, and I was looking into the problems of space management in hospitals. What I found out when I did a lot of research in hospitals was that actually you don't need side rooms for isolating infected patients. Most of them can be treated in a ward as long as there is a see-through screen between them and the neighbouring patients.
So our growth rate has been very, very rapid. Our initial market right from the start has always been UK healthcare, and that was a focus of the business for the first year and a half.
Welcome back to the show, Michael. Let me put the
you.
same question to you. Was the advice that you received in the first series, was it useful?
It was brilliant. It was really, in fact, one part of advice was very useful and we followed it. There was another half of advice that was less useful, but that made us focus on what we wanted to do.
And where do you see next year? What are the challenges for next year for you, Michael?
So the big challenge for next year is the international expansion, and we believe that we've already seen a lot of good sales and a lot of interest in the US especially, and that is where we now want to give a big push.
Let's get specific if you want to go to America with something like this. Firstly, I presume that's patent protected.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it protected
Heavily.
in America?
Yes.
Right. Whatever you do, constantly be aware of patent infringement. And remember, California ain't Texas, neither of them are Florida, and all of them are strangers to New York. It is a federal group of little countries, and they all approach all these things differently. And your route to market in the States, if you're going to go down an agent or a distribution route, there are laws about what happens when you want to end that relationship. And the day to make sure that the ending of that relationship in years to come is a good one is on the day you enter into it.
We're almost at the end of the show, but first it's time to get James to personally answer some of your questions.
Thanks, Carolyn. You know, this has proved to be one of my favourite parts of the show, a chance for me to interact with people on real issues that they want advice on. So I'm ready. What's the first question, Carolyn?
All right, let's go. Question 1 comes from Emma Waddingham at Emma W Consulting. She wants to know, when do you know it's the right time to take on your first employee?
Well, you know, when I took on my first employee, the first thing that went through my mind is, could I afford that person. So cost is obviously a crucial issue for a small to medium-sized business, but also recognising that what is the function you want that employee to be focusing on. So is a real job that actually exists there? I think in my particular case, when I found somebody, it was because we were generating enough activity that I had the work to justify that first employee. So I suppose in summary, it's cost and it's functionality.
James, thank you so much for that. Great advice as always. And you know what? That question actually wraps up Series 2.
Carolyn, I really enjoyed spending time with you. And also, of course, we got to meet some of the most exciting companies in the UK. We hopefully gave some really useful advice to help them grow their businesses and also to support the economy as a whole. Thank you for watching The Business Class. I'm James Caan, and that's a wrap.